IO, they will respond with a Bat Rider now, so you do have a way of locking that Troll Warlord down, especially after the Battle Trance comes out. You can just lasso if you still have it available. So there's that. Still,
It's I get the pick, like you've got the Life Stealer to ride in the Bat Rider, but you pick that into an Abaddon? Like that is just asking for some trouble there from IO. Granted, we have seen, Ohio play that Bat Rider quite well before, so I wouldn't be too surprised if he still manages to pull it off, but IO into Bat Rider into Abaddon is tricky. That aphotic shield just ruins you.
it certainly does. I mean, that was a point I didn't really go on, but yeah, the Aphotic Shield's there. Not to mention the disruption from Shadow Demon.
Yeah.
There's plenty.
It's a hard match to get someone out, but it's a good match to get your Life Stealer in. So even if that lasso doesn't play a big part, you've got that Life Stealer in to basically just kill whoever you jump. You just gotta somehow make sure that the Abaddon's not going to ruin it, and the Shadow Demon.
Interesting to say the least. You'd feel like if the lasso wasn't going to be that big of a priority in this game, you would have chosen something else, but we'll see. I'm sure they have a great plan up their sleeve with this game number 1. Still, RR, they do go ahead and ban out the OD as their final ban, and IO, one more left for them. Both sides yet to show their mid lane, and we do see the Meepo ban coming up from IO, which is fair enough. You don't really want to get cheesed game number 1 over best of 3. So there'll be no games going on here. As this last pick, I wonder. In fact, I know I said this last series, John, but considering you have so much save potential in RR, I really, really wouldn't mind seeing a Husker come out for this dire side, especially considering they have the last pick overall, so they'll know what they're up against.
I reckon you do have room for it this time around. The issue is it doesn't bring in your team fight. It doesn't tighten up your cohesiveness as a unit. I think you want something that can give you a bit more in terms of a 5v5. Right now, IO, despite the weakness the Bat Rider is giving you into the Abaddon, you're playing into an Undying, you're playing into a Snapfire. That's a lot of damage over a wide area. That's a lot of debuffs in a wide area. The Bat Rider as well. Of course, with the Napalm spam and the Firefly, it's going to be tricky for Reality Rift to force something big out. They're always going to have to play with the pickoffs, so they're going to have to look at whether or not they want to try to give themselves a bit more for big team fights or really go all in on just finding one target and bursting them down.
Still 33 seconds left for IO. They are thinking quite heavily about this mid pick. We wonder what the game plan is here. I mean, something like a TA would have been nice, but that was their first ban that came out. Of course, you could go cheesy, you could run something like a Brood, but generally speaking, you want the last pick if you're going to do something like that, and they'll go for something very safe in the form of Lena, who really, really loses the lane, right? Like, Lena will more than likely just trade evenly, maybe win it out, depending on who she's up against, but it does round out the draft of IO.
It definitely does. I think it's a good response to the troll. At very least, early on, you should be able to burst that hero down quite well. Does give them a bit more tempo here for IO, so should be able to find that aggression they want once they hit their 6 on Lena plus 1 or 2. Like, that's going to be enough to get a rotation down mid, or pressure out a side lane. You're not going to need too much farm for IO to really get online with the Lena at the very least. You will need farm in your Bat Rider and Lifestealer, but your 2 supports in this case just need EXP. So you gotta ensure your Undying gets EXP and Snapfire as well. I would not want to see a tri-lane forced out from IO. I don't think these 2 heroes sustain a tri-lane too well. EXP split is way too harsh. You want to rush those levels, especially on Undying. Like, you just want to either get your decay stacks up or the tombstone up and running, or, if you're going to go for its soul rip, for the sustain and nuke potential. But you definitely can't afford to have any of these heroes fall behind in EXP. Like, even a Bat Rider can't afford to fall behind in terms of EXP. All of these heroes need a steady lane. Reality Rift, they go for the Storm, and this is a worry for IO. They don't have the best lockdown for Storm Spirit. They've got the Lena, they've got the Snapfire Cookie, and I guess the Lasso, if you can make it work without the Abaddon around, or even the Shadow Demon. but I feel like there's a lot of space here for Reality Rift to make the Storm Spirit work.
I mean, it's sort of ironic, right? Like in any other kind of draft, if you chose a Storm into a Batrider, you'd be like, well, that's a bit crazy. You know, why would you choose Storm into Batrider? But again, we talked about it. You have ways of purging off the lasso. So essentially, like you already mentioned, it's a free Storm game. He's able to zip in, catch Ohio out in the backlines on the Snapfire as well. This is really concerning for IO. I don't see any answers for what RR's pumping out.
It's going to be interesting to see them execute this draft. That's going to be the big thing, just making this work. If they can get the XP, if they can get that laning presence these heroes require, they can run down lanes, right? You can't underestimate the power of the Undying, the Snapfire of the Batrider. The Lifestealer +1 is really potent as well early on. So if they can play that right, if they can play their spacing right and just win out these lanes, that might not be an issue. If Raging Potato, if you do that, Raging Potato is going to have space for an early blink or whatever else he may go for first. And you can maximize that split up from RR if they don't get that early snowball start. You have a timer on Undying. That's the big one. Undying's timer is so big. He just tapers off a cliff past the point. So you want to maximize this pickup here for Mushi.
Certainly do. Mushi is the one who drafted it after all, so he must be feeling fairly confident. See, as the game should go fairly soon. It's like the are definitely set to have a pretty darn good game number one, though of course we mentioned. See what the plan is here from IO.
Prepare for battle.
I mean, that laning phase for the Storm up against that Lina, it's probably not going to be as smooth sailing for the Storm. So that's going to be one issue for Reality Rift, I suppose. Alacrity still has to not give out the lane too much to Alina, and Lina just tends to get what she wants, and if she plays her cards right, if she plays with her superior range and spammable spells, then it's going to be hard for Alacrity to wedge his way in. It's much easier for Ben-Hur to get what he wants out of that lane.
Interesting to note as well. I mean, you look at a Hustler on the Rubik, John. Straight brown boots. Very confident, only one set of tangos. I suppose there's not too much to be afraid about. I mean, there's not much that IO can do to harass the Rubik down, apart from maybe the Undying. So, us is going in very confidently with this game.
Does look like we might be seeing a lane swap as well. Drew is standing at the start of that bot tower. So it looks like they might be throwing that Troll Warlord off lane and dragging the Abaddon up top.
Yeah, they certainly are. Yeah, Drew, he's definitely going down the bot. Already setting up for that creep block. Of course, Alacrity will be mid. And yep, KYXY, he runs up top. It looks like they may have assumed that it could be some kind of tri-lane, or other than that, I mean, of course, an Undying is rather painful to go up against as a Troll Warlord, so I suppose it's more fair to just get the Abaddon there. He doesn't mind too much.
Yeah, I think the key thing is just having Abaddon face off against Batrider. So you negate the presence Batrider has earlier on, and even if you pressure this Abaddon, he won't really care too much as long as he gets that EXP. You want to secure the farm for this troll, and they are investing in that. Try lane down bot to try to protect Drew early on.
I think that's fair enough, right? As long as Drew gets the farm in the mid game, he's just going to be such a powerhouse. Just making sure he can get those creeps. He doesn't care too much about XP. And Miracle, of course, can't really farm comfortably like this. Like, Nuts has already got 4 stacks of Shadow Poison. A fair bit of damage if he gets the 5th one, and he does! It's getting scary now. Nuts, can he get a 6th? Probably not, but Drew will start harassing Ohio now. Ohio gets rather low, and Miracle will lose half his HP.
It's a rough spot to be in. This is not a lane you're going to be enjoying for the first 2-3 levels. At some point, I do expect Hustler to walk away, but Again, we talked about that top lane. If they just want to secure farm for the troll, this is probably the best way to do it. Just let KYXY cop that hard lane. You're going to have to sacrifice your support's EXP in this case for RR. But as long as the troll finds farm, I guess you're going to be happy.
That's a very awkward spot for IO though. And KYXY, you just said it, he doesn't care. He's already level 2 anyway. So he has a Photic Shield up and he will go for the Curse of Avernus. Mushi trying to get some kind of pull off, but KYXY, he'll pull that creep wave away, bring it back towards his own dire creep wave. And that'll pretty much equal out the lane for KYXY as you still are allowing Raging Potato to basically free farm on the Batrider, but that's not really a concern. I mean, the Batrider really only scales so much.
Yeah, it's not going to be too rough again. Even if Raging does get this free farm lane, you're really not maximizing that potency of that early game Undying. Like, he's trading hits with KYXY, but it's pointless for KYXY. He doesn't care.
Yeah, he'll go again and chase him down. A Photic Shield comes out and Mushi can't go any further. We'll leave it be. Meanwhile, Hustler down bot lane does get the Snapfire Courier. Ohio gonna have to lose that for another minute. Again, you just keep looking down to this bot lane. Miracle just isn't able to farm. He's trying his best. He's got 4 last hits right now. Meanwhile, Drew's at 14. They have complete control over this lane. Just seems like nothing good's gonna come out of this for IO.
Definitely. It's the opposite in the top lane. KYXY is at 3 last hits compared to Batrider's 14 to 10, but this is a trade-off you're having. You're sacrificing Lifestealer farm for Batrider farm, and that just doesn't sound worthwhile. Miracle is going to have to find a way to escalate at some point.
Not to mention KYXY on the Baron. I mean, he doesn't need farm. He just needs levels to be effective. He doesn't need farm at all.
And he's still finding that EXP. He's solo after all.
Yeah, absolutely. Level 4 already on KYXY. Raging, sitting at level 3. Miracle is getting dived right now, and Drew, can he get some vision? There's a cookie coming out, but no, the first blood will be there. Drew does pick it, and it may be a double as the blocks are there from Nuts. Ohio tries to stick charge up, but no, it will be a double kill coming out. On the brighter side of things, though, Ben-Hur does manage to find the solo pick-off on Alacrity. In fact, I say solo, but Mushi was there. You do get a mid trade-off for the side of IO, but you do lose your whole bot lane for that.
It's a good pick-off for the Lina, and slowing down the Storm is something important.
Ops the Rage. Drew may just keep going. Hustler's there. He has lift in a second. He couldn't quite get in range, though. Now, Mushi has decided they need to run a tri-lane up against this RR tri-lane. It's exactly what they'll do, but I just fear that it's a bit too late.
It certainly does feel that way. At the very least, he does have mana pool to sustain himself, and he has his level 3, so...
Rage up again. Every time he gets close, Drew just gets very aggressive. Switches to that range form and just starts making things happen with this Troll Warlord. Just one ensnare essentially makes it so he has to pop Rage.
Basically. Like, he can't afford to really give out his life like that. So, he's going to have to expend that Rage every single time defensively. And... you know, normally Lifestealers play pretty aggressively with the open wounds, but he's really just not able to maintain that.
Oh, Mushi tried to steal a bounty rune off the side of RR. He is probably going to end up paying for it, and yeah, Nuts will pick up a kill on the Undying. Didn't even get the bounty rune anyway. I believe Alacrity did manage to pick it up, so... again, it's going to be a 1-3 RR, 1k net worth lead on the Dire side. Looking very, very healthy right now, and everything's going according to plan, I'm sure. As again, you look down at the bot, Ohio's trying to make some space for Miracle, but there's zero space. He's still on 7 last hits.
I don't think we've seen such a rough start for a Lifestealer in a very long time. Miracle. Just not having any sort of time down here. I don't think he's even playing in this bot lane. I can't say this is playing Dota 2 right now. He's just trying to survive.
Mushi may get caught out. Hustler doesn't go for the lift, although Mushi is still around, but it's not an easy kill. Tombstone is going to be dropped. They're trying to secure the power rune, and now Alacrity. He may turn around. Mushi, he's getting very, very low right now, and yeah, he's gone. Lift They found Ben-Hur. Ben wants to try and turn around and find some kind of punishment. He does have Laguna. They'll get the cookie off, and Ben does have Laguna if he needs. He doesn't even need to commit it, so they will be a 1-for-1 trade anyway. And Ben-Hur is one of the heroes on the side of IO doing very well for himself right now. Top of the last hits board at 40 and 13, and is, I believe, at the top of the levels, about to hit level 7, out-leveling Alacrity by 1.
It's been a good lane for Ben-Hur, and that's the one positive side for IO. They're just managing to find the space for Lina. Again, that matchup against the Storm pretty much favors Lina. She has superior range. It's easier for her to spam her spells out. And she has found a couple of kills for herself now. She did get one takedown on our Storm as well. So Alacrity is going to be slowed down just a bit. But you have to consider what that came, you know, what the cost of having that happen. It's still this bot lane. It's still Miracle. He's the cost. He's what you sacrificed.
Nuts. Gets stunned up trying to steal the outpost. It's a very awkward position for him to be in like that. Ohio just jumps in with the cookie and Ben-Hur just follows up. Now they're looking to try and punish Drew on that troll. Ohio doesn't have another cookie available right now, but perhaps they just dive the tier 1 instead. Perhaps they just go for the tier 1 instead, although Ohio still looking for that range for the cookie. He'll have it available now. Does have a mango to pop if necessary. Nuts will be there to help out though, and they're just trying to force Miracle back. As Ben-Hur, with that double damage, is very threatening, and a nice cookie comes out on the creep. Ben-Hur, he doesn't have mana for Laguna, though now he does. He barely regions it up, but he doesn't commit it. I don't know if it would have been enough anyway. He'll take the tier 1. The Lifestealer does get that bonus gold, and it look.
Huh? The stacks?
He had that many?
I suppose so. He looked really healthy to me at the disengagement of that. But just unfortunate. You've really got to watch out for these Shadow Demons. I mean, it piles up. It piles up. You walk the wrong way, you're done for.
I mean, it is level 3 Shadow Poison, so I suppose perhaps he was assuming that he went a different kind of skill build on Nuts, but it was not the case. That's a big hero to throw away to the side of RR, but I suppose at the least, you get the tier 1, you open some space up for this Lifestealer to get some farm going, and he'll go straight into that jungle and start making some magic happen. But I've got to tell you, John, he's 1.8k net worth. He's behind Nuts on the Shadow Demon. This is going to be a miracle if he does manage to catch up. Excuse the pun.
Definitely going to be a bit of a miracle for him. Nonetheless, you know you're in a rough spot when your Lifestealer is behind the solo Abaddon, right? Who was laning against Batrider. In fact, the Abaddon's ahead of Raging Potato at this point. So that top lane, which we said they were trading for their bot lane, that advantage doesn't exist.
RR, go ahead, take their outpost back on their side of things. Just before that 10-minute mark, Raging Potato may try and steal it back though. There's no one there to stun him right now. I say that, Hustler is just behind, out of vision. So Raging Potato, he'll leave it be. They've already got their own outpost, though Hustler, can he get a lift off? It looks like he can. It was a very long TP. And Raging Potato, the man who had free farm in the off lane, unfortunately does go down, and of all people, he goes down to Alacrity on the Storm.
Yeah, it's rough, right? Like, again, they sacked their bot lane with their Lifestealer for the top lane with their bat. In the end, the Abaddon draws even farm at the end of the laning phase. The only real lane Io really has going for them now is just Ben-Hur's mid lane. So he has early BOTs up. They're going to have to rely on this Lina to get the damage done, to force the rotations out, to find these early kills.
Ben-Hur? Alacrity going to catch him out. There's a double damage rune right behind Alacrity, but he doesn't even need it. Straight after Ben-Hur, Laguna comes out. He does dodge, though, and it will do no damage as Ohio. Nice cookie onto 2. He wants to try and deny the double damage, and does, but they've already given a double away to Alacrity, as well as a tombstone to the side of RR. Mushi trying to turn this around, but they're pretty much all out of there. They may catch Nuts on the Shadow Demon, but that's not going to make it worthwhile. Nuts' disruption is out. Raging? He's falling pretty darn low. He does find the kill, but he does not want to give another kill away. Luckily for him, though, Ben or rather, the Storm Alacrity did not have mana available to zip in. AYXY goes down. Up at the top lane, apparently. Ben-Hur just comes in and cleans him up.
It's a excuse me. It's a consolation prize for IO at this point. Like, yeah, it's a nice kill. I mean, the Abaddon was free farming, KYXY was worth a fair amount of gold, and at the very least, Miracle was around to soak some of that AoE, but it doesn't feel like it's enough yet. You really want to be getting more. They might find more.
Alacrity, that's a massive kill if they can get it. Lasso, Laguna straight away. Alacrity, he could not zip out in time. The Snapfire ultimate does fly in. Ohio just ensuring they could kill Alacrity off, and in fact, Ohio is the one who picks up the kill. A nice little play from the side of Io, as Miracle does fall very low, but will be able to infest and walk his way out of there. In fact, never mind, they want more. They're going after Hustler now. Hustler on the Rubik. Cookie is there from Ohio. This could be bad for RRs. They'll lose another. XY, he'll get the Tombstone, dodges the LSA, trying to run his way out of there, and it looks like he'll be alright. A Rubik trade for a Tombstone. Not the worst for either side.
Definitely not. And at the very least, they saved their tier 1. They're forcing IO to play as 3 to 4 heroes every single time, which means Drew has free farm.
It only does. That's a man we haven't really looked at for a while, John, but 6.3k net worth on this Troll Warlord. Going straight into the, well, he got the Yasha first, but he's going into the Battle Fury next. Things become very, very hard once that Battle Fury is up.
Definitely. His farm is just going to really kick it up. And compare that to Miracle. He's got 1k in the bank. He's 3.6k overall. Trying to work towards that Maelstrom. Let me tell you, that timing is not... It's not great for Miracle. I mean, he's going to have to really try to get his team to either buy him space or play really aggressive once that Maelstrom's out to try to close that gap out.
I mean, look, in the end, right, he was up against a very difficult trial lane, so it's not exactly his fault that he's that behind. He's definitely trying to make stuff happen with the team as well. We'll see. I mean, he's slowly creeping his way back up, right? Like, he is very, very low in net worth, but you never know. Give him 5-10 minutes, the game could change, but certainly up against this Troll Warlord, it doesn't look great, as Drew is farming out of his mind. Well, Alacrity, how's he doing right now on the Storm? He's going to have that Kyra up soon. He's still 1k behind the Lina. Ben-Hur did manage to go straight for the BOTs. He wants to get active on this Lina. Although they are behind in kills on the side of IO, so regardless of those BOTs, it hasn't panned out in being that amazing quite yet.
Not just yet. I mean, we have just been seeing the rotations coming out from Ben-Hur recently, with those couple of kills up top and down mid. Still needs a lot more, but as I mentioned, IO is riding off the back of Ben-Hur to get themselves space, to get themselves momentum here. And as long as Ben-Hur applies that appropriate pressure, goes around finding kills for the Laguna when it's up, then they should be able to buy enough space for Miracle to find something. The issue is RR has been relentless in just slowing down Miracle.
We see 3 heroes from IO grouping up mid. They'll go for a smoke. Ben-Hur going to rotate up to the top lane. Again, they do see KYXY, and Miracle is already there, ready to go if necessary, and it looks to be the plan. Now, mind you, he does have borrowed time available, so it's not the easiest kill. They're going to try for it. KYXY gets stunned up. The rotations are there, though. There's the borrowed time kicking in. And it's essentially going to lead to nothing apart from a few rotations being forced out. In fact, make that only one, and it was from Nuts on the Shadow Demon.
Yeah, it's still a slow-going game. Like, again, they're clumping up, trying to force something out, but RR is really, they're responding now though. They're smoke behind.
They get the lasso off, and Alacrity jumps in with the zip straight onto Ben-Hur. He wants that Lina gone. LSA though does land Ben-Hur Laguna. It's not going to be enough. Drew will clean up that Lina. KYXY still running out of there alive somehow. And meanwhile, Raging is about to fall though. Hustler, he's in the same boat. He does go down to Mushi on the Undying. And Drew, meanwhile, just trying to get that tombstone down. It turns out to be a 1-for-1 trade, but it certainly is RR favored.
It really is. You trade your support away for that Lina who's supposed to be setting the momentum here,
Miracle.
and they might find Miracle.
Does infest. But Drew does find him. And now the ensnares start coming out. He's forced to rage TP. It's really his only play here. Well, Drew is just a monster that's a little too big for the Lifestealer to take down right now.
Definitely. And we don't even see anything on Drew yet beyond the Perseverance and Yasha. Like, he has his boots and those two items. That's it. The Battle Fury's not up yet. The SNY is not up yet. So he has a lot of room to grow. And he's going to grow fast. Miracle is just about 600 gold away from that Maelstrom. So he's going to have that up and running at the very least, just to give himself a bit more speed and farming. And gives him a little bit more damage to play with. He needs a lot more.
At least we do see the Javelin now on the Lifestealer, so you do have a bit of bonus magic damage coming out. Does help. NYXY. Cookie does not connect on the Abaddon. And no matter what lane Miracle goes into with this Abaddon, it's just hard. It seems like someone's there every time shutting him down. They are not giving this man any space. They're trying to force him into his own jungle. They do so now. He's not the fastest flash farmer though. It is not going to be the fastest of farming in the jungle, that's for sure.
Definitely not. But it's the only safe spot he has left. At the very least, they managed to clear that tier 1 down mid. So they have a little bit more control compared to RR. RR has not taken any towers as of yet. So that is giving IO just a bit more control on the map, a bit more gold to play with overall. It's still a 2k deficit in favor of RR. And IO, you know, they've got room to grow. You have the BOTs up in Raging Potato. He's going for his Yults next. And by the time he has Blink, I think you're in a very comfy spot to start forcing stuff out.
See, the problem is, John, is Drew just picked up his Battle Fury. So that 3k net worth lead right now, I'm imagining it's going to start to escalate very quickly. That's the problem I'm seeing for IO right now. Like, just feels like this troll is out of control. I just don't see IO being able to keep up right now. They don't seem to have any kind of game plan as to how to shut him down either. Drew hasn't died once, has 3 kills. He's going for a Sanj and Yasha, so he's looking to pick up that Sanj. Not such a bad item on the troll, who can make it very, very useful for himself. Perhaps they try for KYXY again up at the top lane. They really want this top tier 1 tower. While they're doing that though, Alacrity grabs the bot tier 1. Looks like Raging Potato will go in, trying to get a lasso off. They may find Nuts. He's just sitting still, but now the Tombstone does expose this Shadow Demon. Aphotic Shield keeping him alive for now. He gets his Purge of Disruption off. The Snapfire ulti flying in as well, but this will only lead to 1 support kill. And in fact, it may cost them as Drew getting a bit low, but he's going to back off the safeties. They don't really have a way to lock him down. And he does have the Battle Trance anyway. And I'm kind of shocked that RR, I mean, even though you lose your Shadow Demon, they don't want to fight into this with that Battle Trance. So they'll let the tier 1 top tower go down. And IO will essentially secure a free objective.
I think it's down to RR just trying to play it a bit safe. They understand how far ahead Drew is. So the moment he dies, that's a lot of gold bouncing back to IO. And there are a lot of ways for IO to
But they left
get that
Miracle
person.
behind.
Oh.
He can rage TP, but Disruption comes out. KOXY, there's the rage, Miracle. They don't have the damage output with KYXY. Had the troll been there, it would have been a very different story. But I suppose you've got to take risks to catch up in a game like this, and that's exactly what the man's trying to do. Has his Maelstrom up now as well, so he does have a bit more effectiveness.
Yeah, that should help him out in that jungle, which he needs a lot of help, really. I'm surprised Io has not been committing as many smokes as you'd expect. Again, the key thing is to play around Ben-Hur, play around his burst potential, play around that Laguna Blade. It's level 2 now, and I believe you do have enough to keep Drew in a stun lock and burst him down if you so opted to. So if they wanted to go for that route, just plant a couple of aggressive wards and hunt the troll. I think that is one way to really keep things in check. But Reality Rift, they're going to be happy playing this farm game.
I mean, you're close to BKB now and Drew, so there's no real reason to force anything. Once that BKB's up, there's not really an answer. You don't have the burst potential after that.
Yep. It's going to be rough. Again, they need to try to get the jump in that case, but no Blink Dagger up on Raging Potato. He's going for the BKB next after his Yules now. So, just no easy way to start these fights for Io.
They're going to force in this top tier 2 tower. RR, they're not actually in position to try and defend this. They do fortify, but that's going to be that. As Miracle and Ben-Hur keep at it. So the bot tier 2 will start being pushed in by RR. They are a bit slower, but once Drew gets started hitting the tower, he does take it very, very quick, especially with the Dragon Scale. Drew now sitting at 13k. He is 4k ahead of the secondary net worth, being the leaner. As the full BKB up, I believe, it's being brought out on the courier now. Do you think he bothers waiting for the Sergeant Yasha or whatever else he's going for, or do you think you just make a play with that BKB?
I think you make a play. You've got it early, you've got a huge advantage with that item. You force something out. There's no point in farming when you just buy a BKB. And he's not being jumped anyway, so you want to maximize that item, either force a Roche, force an objective, or force a fight. And I believe RR should be setting themselves up for that. They are smoked in 2 heroes.
Bro. The outpost back. I don't want to risk them looping around the other side. Drew will run in. Again, not really much for him to be afraid about, as he does still have Battle Trance available. Got KYXY there to protect. Even with the new Soul Crest he just picked up, the things just got that much harder in terms of taking down Drew. Although there's the Tombstone being dropped. They have a bit of vision on that Roshan pit, but do they jump in? They do not. They don't make it in time. In fact, they didn't have a jump to get in there, and Alacrity now just jumps in with the Storm Spirit, though LSA does land with the Laguna. They might be able to burst down the Storm, though. No, he survives just barely with the Bloodstone, and now Ben-Hur has lost his life. That Battle Trance is a lot of damage. Ohio being chased down. Meanwhile, in the back, Hustler in a bit of trouble here as Miracle going after him, though Alacrity jumps back in now. This should be too much as Drew is still going with the Aegis. They'll get the Snapfire. Do they have the control for the Lifestealer? They probably will, although the Ensnare comes out on the Troll. But Miracle going to try and run his way out. I don't see him being successful in doing so, and he does go down. It's like they tried to contest that Roshan, which is great and all, but they had no way to get in apart from the cookie.
Yeah, it was questionable at best to reveal themselves like that for the Tombstone. They did scan it out. I mean, I get you want to do something, but you weren't in position, and it cost you a big team fight. You don't get the Aegis anyway, you're going to lose your tier 2 down mid, just like that.
Actually, a little thing we never talked about, the Curse of Avanus with Drew on the Troll Warlord. That is a crazy attack speed. In fact, Mushi, top lane, going to go down to Alacrity. Ben-Hur is going to be there, but they're looping around from the back. In fact, they found Ohio first. Drew immediately just going to go after the easy Snapfire kill, but a nice 4-star from Ohio. Can he get out of here? KYXY is going to be there to help him chase him down, and Drew is almost certainly going to find the kill, and it looks like Ben-Hur wasn't able to find the trade. Hustler was able to get his way out. And now, they find a tier 1 tower. Looks like they'll go for a tier 2. And they've got Battle Trance up again, John. They could just keep going.
I mean, it's off the back of that one bad fight, and suddenly IO just has no outer towers. They just have nothing to hold on to anymore. Just like that.
Look how fast he attacks with the curse.
Oh god, that's ridiculous.
Plus 100 bonus attack speed.
He's got a basher up now as well. So Drew, you know, you can't just TP out in front of him now.
Oh, Miracle. They know where he is. They're going to jump him. They get the Vortex off. Can he rage TP this time? He can, but Drew is chasing him down. He has Battle Trance available. Miracle, he won't go for the TP. He's going to try and bring his team in to try and fight this, it seems, as Rage Potato is there with Ben-Hur. They won't commit, but they'll take the outpost. They'll try to force out more from the side of IO. As a 10k net worth lead is currently active for RR. Dota Plus currently saying there's a 93% chance that RR pull off this victory.
Yeah. No, I can't disagree with that. I'd put it a bit higher, if I'll be frank with you. So many things IO needs to get done, but they're losing so much map control. In fact, they've lost all map control. Not a single outpost, not a single outer tower left. Age is still up and running for RR. Means that Drew's just really not going to care. Is level 19 now as well. Compare that to Miracle. By no fault of his own, he's still level 14. Hasn't even gotten his second talent yet.
At the very least, he does have the Halberd up now, I guess, so... There's that. Raging Potato uses up the troll, but doesn't realize he is completely surrounded. Very easy kill going to Drew, and now Alacrity, he's not done. Won't bother trying to chase the Lifestealer as the Rage TP is available, so instead he ignores it, he pushes out the wave, and he'll let the rest of his team push in that mid-tier 3. And John, you saw how fast it was before. Once KYXY gets in there and activates the curse on the tower, there's no saving that tier 3. In fact, he's already getting started. Meanwhile, Mushi, he gets lifted up. Nice LSA to stop the troll from moving in, though they don't have the burst potential. And he has an Aghanim Scepter anyway. They'll use him up again. They really want to try for this. LSA, but it's purged off, and now the Laguna, but the Aphotic Shield was there. Maybe they still can find the Aegis? No, they can't even find that. Alacrity, he jumps in now. He wants to find Ohio on that Snapfire. They even got the Lifestealer Drew. He's falling quite low, but he pops the Battle Trance. And with that, he's just going to heal himself up. They'll get the lasso, but there's the disruption coming up from Nuts. And maybe they just turn onto the tier 3 instead. They still have the Aegis on Drew. He can keep going. They'll at least find KYXY now on the Abaddon. So IO, they have a chance of winning this team fight. Miracle trying to move forward, trying to find somebody, but he's just getting kited right now. He gets lifted up. They don't have any sort of wave disabling the side of RR and holding them down. It looks like Nuts at the very least will be caught out. So IO, they do successfully defend. And they do find 2 pickoffs. Maybe even 3 as Hustler is in vision of Raging Potato. Suddenly it's looking nicer and nicer for this Radiant side, especially if Miracle does manage to find the kill. A lot of Atos will be there, and Hustler does pick it up. In fact, never mind, it's Mushi that gets Hustler on the Rubik. It's a 14-17 now, but still an 8k net worth lead for RR. And that really goes back to well, Drew just didn't want to commit the Aegis. It seemed like he knew it was expiring, John.
I think that's fair. Like, it's good game sense to know it's been a while since they took that objective anyway. So, good game sense from Drew, managing to just pull out right in the nick of time. Of course, he did pop his BKB before dying anyway, so that second life probably wouldn't have amounted to too much. They lost KYXY earlier on as well. They did need him to spam that shield out to keep Drew alive in the front line, pretty much scotch-free. So that early pickoff did play into IO's hand there. Still, they have a lot to overcome here. They've got to try to find those kinds of fights once more, try to focus down the Abaddon if possible, and possibly support. It's really going to be those 2 heroes, the Abaddon +1, that's going to be causing issues. If you can take them out, Abaddon +1 support, then you can take these team fights as IO, no problem. The issue is catching that backline right now is not the simplest thing in the world. You have to wait for RR to overextend, although they do have the Blink Dagger up and Raging Potato now.
Well, this could be the opportunity, John. There is a smoke from RR. So, They may overextend at this moment. We'll find out as Drew starts moving in. He's the frontliner and Mushi going to be the one to get caught out. Hustler, of course, is there with the lift. Mushi isn't exactly the kill they wanted to take. They would have rather wanted the cause, of course, but they'll take what they can get. Drew, Raging Potato does not get caught out. Drew's the only one around. Just going to keep vision on this troll. Are they going to force a mid tower? I don't think they have the time while Mushi's gone, but perhaps just using these illusions may do the work. It looks like that's the game plan. Just send in some troll illusions and just chip away at it.
That's one way to get about it.
Ben-Hur forced to BKB. That was his 10-second charge, and he will be out of there. Drew, though, they're going to find Raging. He tried to farm the jungle. Nice little stun from the Centaur to try and help Raging Potato out, but he is almost certainly dead.
That's unfortunate. They need that Bat Rider up and running for the defense. So if there is an opening for RR, it's now. They could go in, force the buyback, or punish by taking a tower out.
Again, there's a loot. Oh, Hustler!
Wow.
Nice 4-staff. I believe that was that from Mushi? Yeah, he committed a 4-staff, but very quick on the fingers from Hustler. He blinks out. I'm gonna say, John, I still don't see a way back into this game for IO. They're just so far behind right now.
It's rough. Like, they need to get a lot more on Miracle. He's at 12k now. About 2k behind is Lina. A bit of an improvement. Still pales in comparison to what this Troll Warlord has.
Oh, they couldn't catch Alacrity, though. Alacrity, Lincoln's is available, so Lasso does not latch. Like, that wasn't even a Lasso being committed.
Oh, God. Raging.
Yeah, it gets caught out. It was bound to happen. RR, they can just rotate so darn quick. And to make matters worse, the Roshan's up. So RR going to find themselves even more advantage. There's a double damage rune at the bot lane that IO will be able to deny, but that won't matter. This Roshan will go down way too quick thanks to Drew.
Yeah, and that's going to be Aegis and Cheese this time around, going the way of RR. So you've got a lot more to go through here. I believe that is going to really put a dent there into IO's game plan. The Aegis going the way of Alacrity this time around, and I believe the Cheese is on Drew. So you've still got a lot to deal with here. I want to point out as well, there are a lot of tier 3 items just in the stash for both teams. So you've got the Enchanted Quiver stuck in the base for Reality Rift, which makes sense. They don't really have a core that could make use of that. The Vambrace is probably better for the Storm. But for IO, you've got a lot just hanging in there as well. They've got the Greater Fairy Fire and Titan Sliver. That's surprising. The Sliver's not picked up by even just a Bat Rider, I'd say.
Alacrity finds Miracle. Oh. Miracle's alone right now. He doesn't have a way out of this, I don't believe. He can infest, of course, but he's losing creeps. He keeps farming up. He may just go for the Rage TP play, and yeah, Alacrity can't really do much about this one. Although, no, the Abyssal Drew. He finds him. And with no Rage available, there's no way out. That's one of the positives about the new Abyssal, John. Just blinks you forward. Gets that bash off immediately.
Oh, man, that's a really greedy play from Miracle. He must have known Alacrity would have had backup there, somehow. Like, it's so obvious. You don't waste time chasing a lifestealer because you know they're gonna Rage TP. So if he was keeping that up, then surely you would have known something's up.
Now Drew will move his way to that bot tier 3 tower. Another Abyssal straight onto Ohio. Does he have a way out? They do 4-staff him, but it's the wrong way. But still, he does get 4-staff towards the fountain and does miraculously survive. But I can't say the same for that tier 3 tower. Drew is hitting very, very quick. And without the life stealer, there just seems to be no chance. That'll be the first tier 3 of the game going down, and now the racks. It's still free real estate. Back to Alacrity, jumps in, doesn't find anybody. They found Mushi, but he's a bit of a tankier target. They want to take that tombstone down immediately. The lasso is there on nuts. Get rid of those supports and maybe the game gets easier, but the disruption is there and Alacrity jumping back in straight away. He just does't care. Straight onto Ben-Hur. The BKB is there, but Alacrity finds him anyway. He just doesn't really mind at all. In fact, a 4-man LSA coming out from Hustler in the enemy fountain. Doesn't lead to anything, of course. But RR, without Ben-Hur there, they feel very confident, I'm sure, to just keep going. In fact, yeah, Mushi gets jumped on. Glimmer Cape will save. Alacrity is very low on mana, but now they found the lifesteal and Miracle. He does rage up, but that's his rage gone. Hustler will steal the rage for himself now, as Drew will just keep going. They move forward. Disruption is there from Nuts. Miracle, gotta be so careful. They do throw a cookie, but Drew is going to find the secondary racks. They'll slow him down the open woods, but Drew just man fights. There's no surviving this, as Alacrity jumping in the backlines, going after Mushi on that Undying. He's so darn low, Alacrity should be able to pick this up though. Nice cookie, but it will not matter as Hustler had the little shredder available, and that's GG. There's just no way back into this. Not with Drew this big. Not with Alacrity this big on the Storm, and they're fountain diving. They know.
Oh boy. Io, rough game one coming out here. Reality Rift gonna be very happy with that victory. I have to say, a lot of that was down to draft. Sure, the execution was a bit off as well, but the draft was just super strange. The fact that they forced the lanes out with the matchups they knew they had and went through with it anyway meant that Miracle, by no fault of his own, could not find farm. They figured that Ben-Hur would win top lane enough that he'd overtake, but a Batrider versus Abaddon draws even, especially when you leave him 1v1. So it's just a bit strange there, and hopefully they do correct that in game number 2.
Well, we'll find out very soon, John, as we won't be taking too long of a break this time. It should only be maybe 5 minutes or so. It is MLP Dota on johnxfire. We'll see you all very, very soon for the second game of this best of 3.